Hello, ladies. This one is for the girlies. If you're not a woman, go away, please. I have big sis advice for you, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I have said it over and over again that a woman will do well to have her own money because when you have your own money and a man refuses to do your hair, you get your hair done anyway, and it helps when he witnesses that. It really helps him to realize that he doesn't need you as badly as he might think. When I get sick, like I didn't used to fall sick a lot until I came to Germany. I barely felt sick back home. Even when I was going through like the pits, like at the pits of depression. Forget this one that I have, this seasonal affective disorder, where I have been up all night these past few weeks. I don't sleep a wink, and then I sleep in the morning. And it started with me sleeping at like 2 a.m., 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 8. I'll be wide awake, like wide awake. Let me show you something interesting. I'm packing. I am packing because I am leaving. And I am leaving because I can. And I just want you to see, I'm not making this up. Like, I'm literally putting my things together to leave Germany. And this is why. You've listened to me complain about this country. You've listened to me tell you that I had booked a ticket to go to Kenya in July, and then I missed my flight. And someone I trusted at a point of vulnerability took advantage of that trust and offered me their place to stay, and then quickly withdrew that at the end of their contract. And I was left in a mess. I had to quickly find a house. I found a place, costs twice as much as what I used to pay, and I'd planned to stay at this cheap place for 6 months so that I'd organize my finances, because I did have a job, but I have dependents. And at the time there were 3. Ladies, it helps to have your own money. When you choose to leave a country or an abusive relationship, and this has been a fairly abusive relationship between me and Germany. Let me sit so that we can just talk, just as girls. When you choose to leave an abusive relationship, physically abusive, emotionally abusive, financially abusive, and we're talking about this at a time when there was a trending podcast. I talked about it last time, I shared about it, but I want to repeat because it bears repeating. A woman lives an average of 7 or 8 times before she actually leaves an unhealthy relationship. Whether that is a relationship with a person, usually a man, or a family member who's causing you harm, usually a parent or sibling. And with the Christian guilt, and I'm saying Christian guilt, but I mean religious guilt, because the reason why abuse is so rampant in religious groups is because we're taught forgiveness and grace. There's a beautiful sermon, and I will share it with you, shared by a woman who gave everything to a relationship, as far as we can see from the outside, because we were not there with her. But as far as I can tell, she sounded, the way she spoke, as a woman, if you've given everything in a relationship, any relationship, and then it doesn't work out, the day women like us leave, we leave. And I have shared this before. We will cook for you, we will clean, we will bear your children. In this span of time that we're planning to leave, especially if we wanted kids for ourselves, we will even have this child with you. And we will plan when we are leaving. years in advance, months in advance. We will wait for the kids to grow. We will raise them with you. We will send out those job applications. We will cry when the rejections come. If we are wise, we will pray and ask God to send destiny helpers, and usually in the form of other women who've been there. Which is why I'm here as your big sis to tell you, when you're leaving, this is how you live quietly, and then just plan for it, and then just leave. And then the people who have, not through vibes and inshallah, but have proactively been there, especially when you were in the pits, hopefully because you were also there for them when they were in the pits, so that it's symbiotic, they come through for you and they tell you, my spare key is in this colored flower pot. Here's a picture. I've said that to a woman before. If you ever leave, this is where the spare key is. This is the neighbor. They're aware. This is the number. Come, no questions asked. I don't care if I'm in Nairobi. I don't care if I'm in Lamu. Just show up at my house. And I didn't just tell one neighbor. I told even my downstairs neighbor, like, there's a woman, if she shows up and she looks like you or your children, and she has children who look like your kids, because she had an interracial child, I said, just take her. And she said, sis, like, say less. Women, we women, we just know there are things we don't ask about. We just say, look, when she comes, she will eat, she will sleep. She doesn't even have to come to your house. And that's the thing I miss about Kenya, where we genuinely care for people. I got on a bus at 2 a.m. the day before yesterday. I think the day before yesterday. And I was honest with this bus driver, and I was the only passenger there. And I said, I want to pay my ticket fare. And he said, you have to pay by card. I had just sent my last bit of money on my card to my daughter to handle something for me. Tell me why. I tell this man, but I have cash. Like, I would very happily give you. And he gets annoyed with me. And he says, now we are delaying. I'm like, okay, let's drive. So he ignores me. I'm sat there with my wallet in my hand. It's cold. I'm tired. I've just come from a cleaning job because I'm trying to make grocery money. I'm just a woman out here trying to pay school fees for her child, trying to be a decent parent, trying to buy wares from her daughters so that I can put money in their hands and empower them, not by handout, but, build me a website, I pay you. And that money I pay you goes to your school fees. You finish getting an education, the most I can do, help you with my networks to help you get the thing that you need. My daughter is so proactive, and I have a bunch of daughters, but this particular one, the one I have been dealing with a lot, is so proactive that she's going to work on a farm to make money to come back to Nairobi. And not just that, in her village, she's also saved money, like, to buy herself shoes, a few things here and there. I told her, you need to have an emergency fund. I call it pesaya bra, the money you put in your bra. You see those women in the city streets of wherever you are from in Africa who sell wares, and then when you're asking for change or they're taking money, they take it out of their bra, right? And it's one of the most secure places to keep money, except I was hijacked once and they knew to look for it there, but my boobs are so tiny that I was like, look, if the money were there, if it were words of cash, you would have seen by now. But I digress. Look, I keep going back to the money because I'm 37 in a few months. Every woman I know who's gotten divorced and been able to leave, gotten separated, it didn't work out with a man. He cheated, he hit her, he stole from her. Oh, because men be out here stealing money from us. She noticed she was spending more in the household than he was, even though he makes more. So where is his money going? The stories we've been hearing from our aunties, cousins, and sisters. And so the one thing that the denominator, the thing that it comes to in these stories is usually two things. You live if you have money, you live if you have a place to go, or someone to receive you. Bumpies, story, Sophie and Bumpy of the Jules podcast, is it So This Is Love or something, has shaken me to the core and made me ask myself, why am I in Berlin? I wanted to come to Berlin. It was a dream of mine. I have lived the dream. And I remember making a joke, I think in December, that, I was also coming from a cleaning gig, and I think it was the same 1 a.m. because it's really the same house. And I asked myself, do I want to stay here? Yeah, sure. Do I want to stay here in winter? No. Hell no. I don't like being here in winter. But this time I wanted to experience winter for myself in my singlehood. I gave myself that gift. But now we're in January. I would so much rather be anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa right now. And by anywhere, I mean drop me in, I was going to say Goldby Desert, and I'm not sure where it is, but just drop me somewhere where I can see Black people. Ladies, make your own money. Keep your money. Don't be too generous with this information. I know you love this boyfriend or husband of yours. Men will lie unprovoked, even the good ones. And I've met very few men who have a handle on their money. I personally don't date rich men who have not gone through problems. I can't, because they just don't understand. And I know I resent people who lack empathy. I resent them. It's a me problem. Me and Jesus will talk about it, hopefully before I die or he comes back. But I genuinely resent people who don't understand the struggle, because I know people who are doing very well right now, owners of homes and apartments, who, when we talk, by the end of the conversation, they've sent me money and they're like, Sharon, do ABCD for me. And I'm like, this is a lot of money for the work. And they're like, no, I know you'll do a really good job. That's just for me to say, I've been where you are. Look for people like that, ladies. Look for people who, they've not forgotten the trenches they came from. Also, challenge to my married friends who don't like us. You see, these men, they are not yours and they're not ours. A man is not a purse. Every time I hear people go like, oh my God, she's a husband snatcher, I'm like, look, you can snatch a child, an infant, a purse, a pet. Can't snatch a man. Willing buyer, willing seller. Because every time I hear people complain about sex work or calling people a shower, prostitutes, slut, whore, the names we throw at fellow women, even we as women, comes from a place of insecurity. Because you see, when I look at the slum flower, I envy her. She has a beautiful body. She's not had sex in 4 years. She hasn't been nursing yeast infections back to back because there's a man messing her pH, as far as I can tell. So, and she goes out and she spends her own money and she does her thing and she's living the life as a dominatrix. And I want that. I want that life. I want to have money. I want to have money without the tag of, if I helped you make this money, you have to exchange with sexual favors. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, sex is not food. Like, it's not food, it's not important. I literally don't even want it anymore. Like, it's because I used to think of it as this beautiful exchange. I was not delusional enough to think that it's not transactional. I think sex is very transactional. And I have said here, quoting the Slum Flower, that the way marriage is today, in many settings, not all of them, it's the lowest form of sex work. You don't have agency, you lose your identity. There's a lot of, in either being Mrs. So and so, losing your name. Me, but who I will never drop my name. Ogugu, I am never dropping that name. And I have told even the one I was with, we are not hyphenating. We are not. The one I was assigned to me at birth, why would I drop it for you? And yet you could live or die. We are not doing that nonsense. Secondly, uh, getting lost in the identity of mother. And that one is tough because once you're a mother, to unmother is hard. When your child becomes an adult and they go, and especially if they go and go, you know, they either want nothing to do with you or they're doing so well on their own, they just check in from time to time. If you are wrapped up in motherhood, ooh, as your whole identity, that transition will spin you into a proper life crisis. And if you're not careful, you guys watch Nels. She's hilarious. She's from the UK. She's black from the UK. I don't know where she's from originally, but they were interviewing someone, and this lady was talking about another black woman, and she was talking about how she doesn't want her boyfriend's mother around. And then Nella asked her, "What did she do to you specifically?" And the thing goes, and then she's like, "Oh, I know what it is. She's in love with her son." Women, if there are things I had known at 25, all the decisions I would have made differently. However, this is the thing I am grateful for. And I shared this with someone who's happily married with a child I held when they were like fresh from the oven. They were new. They were not fresh from the oven, but they were a new baby. And now that baby is grown and in school. And there's another baby about the same age as when I held this child, and she's checking up on me to make sure I'm okay after the breakup, because she knows the breaky, like the person I was broken up from, and she's friends with his sister, so she's being careful about she's just checking up sister to sister, because we had a moment. And she follows me on Instagram, and she's seen a lot of what I've been sharing, and I could see she was trying to check in without asking too much, and also without betraying her trust to her friend. So I was like, hey, just volunteer what I should and what I can, and tell her, sis, I promise I'm doing okay, and I'm happy for them, and I hope they continue to be happy very far away from me. So do not forget your single friends. Many a married man has dropped me because he found the one. A short 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 years later, me, I am just here living my life, and I just get a text or a call, and they're like, I messed up. Like, I shouldn't have treated you the way I did, or I should have listened to you, or you remember that thing you warned me would be an issue in our relationship. It was a thing, and my pride wouldn't let me get in touch with you, or I should have picked you. That's my least favorite thing, by the way. Don't ever come to me and tell me I should have picked you, but they don't. This is targeted specifically at specific people. Don't come to me and tell me you were the one. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this information? I am not second pickings material, by the way. I remember even telling someone, I was never going to get kids for you. She gave you children, treat her with respect. And if you guys get divorced, as you're saying, claiming, alleging, I hope she cleans you out. Because she was a blossoming flower when you met her. Right now, not so sure. You've aged her some. You've given her mom brain twice. I was never going to do that for you. You should be grateful. You should lick her toes, worship the ground she walks on. A person who gives you 2 children, not 2, and she still works. Like, she goes to a job and does other side hustles and makes you look good. And then you're reaching out to me, single, loud-mouthed, child-free person that I am, because you're bored. Marriage is going to get boring. The novelty goes through the window, as Ellen White has said. You're not getting married for flowers. Getting married to build a life with someone. So she's built with you, brick by brick, passing you the mortar and the bricks and sweating, pushing out 6-pound babies for you, dealing with your shenanigans, including messing her pH. and messing with her mental health, because you men be out here making us crazy. By the way, I now know why married women are hysterical. It's men. I would rather have the hysteria that just comes with being black in a world that likes white. Let me deal with that hysteria instead of the hysteria that comes with walking into a clinic and being told you're HIV positive, or walking into a hospital and discovering that you have cervical cancer and he's the only man you've ever had sex with, or discovering that you're yet again pregnant and he was the sort of man who wants the entire village to clap for him when he changes one diaper every few weeks, begrudgingly, while you do the dishes, and still expects to be rewarded with sex. Women, listen. We, the singles, feel, sometimes we feel bad for you. And sometimes we do want to get married one day. For me, when I have a PhD and I have my own home, so that when I'm upset, I've told people I'm the sort of person who, when I leave, I want to leave and go to my holiday home, which is on my piece of land, in a title deed, on a title deed with my name, and that I built. Said that with my whole chest, that I built. I was there with the foreman. I oversaw the work, or that another man other than my husband built with me, so that he knows. You don't men respond to violence. I've said this time and time again. Why are we talking about leaving? Because I'm out here just admiring the women who could leave. So, because this is a season of leaving unhealthy relationships, situationships, stopping to abandon, like this, abandoning ourselves for these men who would never, ever do the same for us. They will listen to their male friends when we say the same thing, and as them, they're like dismissive. But when his BFF, his gym bro, his guy friend tells him something, he's like, yeah, that's true, bruh, that's spoken like a wise man, and you just sat there thinking, you know what, the point is, he's doing the thing. Because we also just, beyond a certain level of maturity, you don't do things to point prove. So, ladies, what's today's lesson? Let's summarize it. We're talking about leaving any relationship, a house that doesn't work for you. You walk in and you feel chilly. You're like, I'm not comfortable here. A shower that's moldy. You're like, life is short. If you find a slice of bread in your whole loaf that's moldy, this is spoken with a lot of privilege because bread is cheap in Germany. Please, throw out the entire loaf, because would you rather deal with liver cancer a couple of years when your immunity is bad and we are seeing NHIF is no longer NHIFing? Universal healthcare is no longer caring. Look, Kenya is still home. Me, I'm coming home. So I've not yet booked my ticket. I plan on doing so soon. But have your own money. So when you want to leave, you can leave. It's very empowering. Have your intellectual property. So ladies, let's go to school. Do those online courses. When you're at home taking care of the baby, look for those LinkedIn courses and those Google courses. As long as there's internet, stop spending your time scrolling mindlessly. Do it sometimes. Have ADHD, do it all the time. But also just start unfollowing those channels that are not empowering and are not teaching you anything meaningful. Just matching vitenge couples saying, me and babes went to Italy. Here are 5 foods we enjoyed. Why? You just pushed out a baby. You don't need that. What you need is to follow a doula or a midwife, or better still, an OBGYN who talks about postpartum depression, tells you what to look out for, talks about what an episiotomy should look like, how to care for yourself when caring for your baby. Look for a health coach like me who provides after-birth services, someone to come cook for you, clean for you, check if your stitches are okay, you know, help you deal with the mom brain, help you babysit the older child so that you can take a nap while carrying the baby. Just to give you some, you know, invest in yourself, do things for you, buy nail polish, good quality essence nail polish with base coating and top coat. Treat yourself nice. Buy yourself warm things to wear during winter. Get nice noise cancelling headphones, JBLs, because you overstimulated and you have ADHD. You know, just take care of yourself. Be nice to yourself. Buy yourself jewelry. Be nice to yourself. Buy yourself an overpriced yoga mat that will last and last, because I think I got this in 2016. Buy yourself nice things. Actually, it was more like just before 2020, so likely 2019. It's traveled with me. I bought land. That trip to go buy land and surveying it, the walk, sat on this mat. I carried it with me, put it on the ground on the sand. There was sand everywhere, and just there's a picture of me. I will look for it. I don't have it here. But you know, this mat, we've been in Kenya together, we've fasted, we've prayed, this mat, my child Tina's fingers have been on this mat. She was 8, now she's 10. It's do nice things, memories, buy your Masai shuka, buy your, you know, like, just treat yourself well. This life, my mother says, is not a rehearsal. This life is not a rehearsal. And I have been noticing a lot of my mother coming up because, the wisdom she shared with me. I need to look for that mother of mine. I know we've been no contact, but I'll find a way to find her. I know how to send smoke signals that she can see, and we don't have to be face to face. We will find our way back to each other, hopefully. If not, it's fine. But she's still my mother and I love her. I will talk about her more later. But for now, sis, take care of yourself. The rule is love your neighbors, you love yourself, right? Meaning the prerequisite, the before the requirement is you love yourself so that you know how to love others. Let's love ourselves. Tujipende. Let's love ourselves so that when you need to leave, you can and you do. And it doesn't necessarily need to take 7 to 8 tries. Even if it takes 7 to 8 tries, hey, we're here to listen, not to judge. Also, we don't insult ourselves. We talk to ourselves the way we talk to our friends. You know, when your girlfriend comes to you and she's like, oh my God, I'm so ashamed. I went back to him and this is what happened and I found texts, and we listen, we don't judge. And then sometimes we call you out, some tough love here and there, but only when you have the capacity. So treat yourself the same way. Look at yourself in the mirror and go like, hey, beautiful. Hi, and so on. Look at those thick thighs. They save lives. Twerk, dance, feel good. Let that guy who's been looking at you buy you coffee. You are now announcing to men, hey, they're excited I am coming to Kenya. What? My menses be out here going like, babe, when am I buying you lunch? Where do you want me to buy you lunch? Look. I know I sit here and I tell you guys I'm a feminist. I don't have male friends, but the male associates I have, the bullets they would take for me. So yeah, please keep the company of people who appreciate you, people who will tell you, hey, when you come, I have a B&B. I'll host you for a couple of days. I need to pick your brain, and I know I hear you say on YouTube that you charge per hour of your time. So could I equate that to that and then cover lunch for the 3, 4, 5 days you'll be at my B? Those are the people. The ones who'll tell me, oh, please stay with a friend. I think you'd like to enjoy it. I know you. You'll share the reviews on your Instagram, and I'll get some international clients, because I'm that person. I take people's names into boardrooms. Do that. Surround yourself with people who celebrate you and make you feel good. The sorts you tell, I've had a day, and they're like, buy you lunch. You look like you need lunch. Because I have people like that in my life. Primarily women. Because women will not ask me to sleep with them after they buy me lunch. So ladies, think, yeah? Because always prepare to leave. Just always be prepared. It helps. On a good day, you don't have to leave. Your marriage is safe. You have an emergency fund he knows nothing about. You have a life insurance policy for your child in case you drop dead and he remarries, and your baby has a trust fund. No matter what happens, he might be motivated to treat that child well when you're long gone. Think, especially if you have kids, think about their futures. But this is the season of leaving those relationships that don't work for you, packing your bags unapologetically, handing in your notice and going like, I'm out. And just like that, peace, I'm out.